So welcome back to Newborn Nursery Reborn. This is a preemie series tutorial on painting a reborn baby. And I'm going to start out by doing the undertones and the veins on this baby. Here's my palette. It's a very messy palette. I've been painting customs, and now I'm doing this preemie. And I say that I'm going to keep this preemie, but I've actually decided that I might sell this preemie. So I'll be posting this preemie in my store when he's finished. So if anybody has fallen in love with this baby during this tutorial, you can find this baby when this baby's finished in my store. And this is a micro preemie because this baby is he's 13, almost 14 inches, so he's a little bit over 13. I'm gonna let those sit for a second. Oh boy. I always get paint on me. We're gonna do these little moons right here for the baby's undertone. And then we're gonna go through the forehead like this. So this baby will have that right here. And then another moon right here. And as you can see, the temple, we want to mark that as well. Underneath the chin. And this color is a premix color that I purchased off eBay. And that's how it should look, very translucent. And what I like to do, because this is a newborn preemie, is newborn preemies, if you look at them when they're born, so this baby has a line here, okay? And what I like to do is I like to bring all the baby's detail out. And this is why I do this. This is why I line it like that, because of me being a nurse, number one, and babies in the NICU, they have lots of veins. I've heard people say in their tutorials that they don't, but I hate to break the news to you, but preemie's veins are more noticeable than a newborn because their skin is so thin layered, and you can like almost see through them. They look glass, and it's kind of hard to describe, but I'll show you guys a picture. And veins don't have to be perfect. I used to be a perfectionist when it came to painting. You just want the baby to have, and then I like to do right here too, because of the babies' back of their necks. They always seem to have undertones. The medium kind of smudges it a little bit, makes it thicker than I want it, but my veins ain't even coming out right today. But they're still veins. This is more how they usually come out. we're gonna do another baby right here. This is the Eleanor Sculpt by, and she spells her name just like me. My real name is Eleanor, just like this doll. But ever since I was a young girl, I've been called Elena, so that's why I go by Elena. But my real name is Eleanor, which I hate that name. But some people really like that name. This is a Laura Tuzio sculpt. So welcome back to my preemie series. I did go ahead and do a red layer of mottling, and we are doing purple. Now we have to remember that there's many more layers after mottling, so I'll tell you why I prefer the mottling to be in the very beginning after neutralizing your kit. And I neutralize my neutralized color, and I do that 3 times before moving on to my next layers. So I always start my mottling by the back of the neck, and that's what you want. You want it translucent, and you want it wet and moist, and you can do this with air dry. This is an air dry friendly tutorial, so you could use air dry paints. Just keep your paints wet and translucent when you're working with a Reborn. Now this baby right here, this preemie, he's getting all of his mottling colors, and it should look like that. And if you look really close, you can see underneath that the other colors are coming through with the wet paint. So we're gonna put him right there to dry, and you'll be able to see the other layers underneath with the wet paint. But what I'm doing here is I'm mottling with the light purple. If you don't have light purple, you can make it on your own. Just mix dark purple with white or a flesh color skin tone, any peach or beige, anything like that, to your baby. And just make it light purple over the red, because that's what makes up the skin tone underneath all the rest of the layers of the baby. And it also gives the baby beautiful undertones. And the things that you can see clear right now, because I do my veins a little dark, and I'll tell you why. We have many more layers and phases to go through. I do a 12 phase. So you could just basically do mottling, and then after mottling, after your purple layer, your veins and your undertones, you could do just a skin tone. After this dries, if you're using air dried, give it like 3 to 4 hours to dry, and then I'd go over it with more skin tone, like 3 or 4 more layers of skin tone, and then you could be finished if you're a beginner. And if you look at this belly, you got to remember this is a micro preemie, so this baby is going to be very detailed. If you look in the back, you see that, but that is because preemies do have very mottled skin. Like, their skin is very like detailed like this. So if you wanted to leave your preemie just like this, You could even do a red wash instead of a skin tone. It depends on how you like your babies. But that's basically it for that. I can go over this a little bit on the top of the head because the head does have lots of detail, more than anything, and I do 2 layers of that. And then we're gonna put this baby in for curing, and if you're air drying, you want your baby to dry until the next part of the series. And I think what we're gonna do next is creases on this baby after I completely dry this baby. So I'll see you guys on part 3. Stay tuned. So welcome back to part 3 of my preemie series. So I'm gonna try something. I'm going to try something that I haven't tried before, and the reason for being that I'm trying is because, so first I want to do a green wash. So we're gonna use this mint green, and I'm just using this cap right here for my palette, even though because my palette is full right now. And if you are using air dry, this will work for air dry as well. And then I'm gonna add a tab of flesh. Now all my colors are mixed. That's why I don't give out my recipes, because, you know, each artist has his own signature, and I definitely have mine. And the reason why I'm doing the green wash is because I want to tone down any red mottling that may be a little on the loud side. And it makes it look more natural, but it also gives a beautiful undertone to the baby because we're doing a preemie. I also do this on newborns, but as far as toddlers, they would not, absolutely not have a undertone this loud. Excuse you. Oh, these dogs, they're so annoying. Go lay down, please. Oh, I can't with these dogs. Too much responsibility. Do. And I am making this baby for my nursery. I have been waiting a long time to make this baby, actually. So, and this is why I'm doing this baby's wash. And you can see it's in the middle of translucent and in the middle of noticeable. I mean, you could say that. I know I said I was gonna do creases, but I'm not ready to do creases yet. I'm gonna wait and do creases almost at the end. I find it's easier that way when doing creases, because they fade when you are painting. So I feel like if you do creases in the beginning, you're just gonna have to go over those creases one more time. And it's just one wash, and it will make a big difference once it bakes and cures. And if you're doing air dry, just give it a little bit to settle in. You want to give it about an hour in between coats. I would give it about 45 minutes to an hour to settle. when you're painting with your air dry paints. And why do I recommend air dry? I also want to let people know that Newborn Nursery Reborn will be coming out with an air dry paint set, and you have everything you need in that paint set. You have the primer. It all comes in one set, and it's like very, very affordable compared to everybody else's prices. My prices are unmatched. Like, that's one thing I can tell you guys. So if you guys are artists, and you are interested or you're interested in becoming an artist, you may want to purchase Newborn Nursery Reborn's air dry paint set for reborning, because we're coming out with that in the first week of August of 2025. So I want to say around August 7th through the 10th, I will have it available in the store for sale. And that will come with the primer, and also your paint colors that you need for reborning. And the good thing about my painting is each and every color will come with instructions on where to start, and it kind of like helps people that are just starting out, that don't understand reborning yet, and that kind of don't understand the colors. So you might want to check that out, because we have that coming up really, really soon. And that's coming out, like I said, through August 7th through the 10th. I also will be coming out with the Precious Moments line onesies for the babies, and different onesies with different cartoon characters. We have baby animals with pacifiers that will be on onesies. Just really, really cute onesies that have all been made by myself. Like, I have made them, designed them, all that. So there'll be all my ideas and all of my things that I will be coming out with, as far as, my baby onesie line. And those are all Newborn Nursery Reborn baby clothing items. So we'll just have to wait. But if you're interested in taking a look at my Etsy store, and you want to wait for the paints to come out because it's a really good deal, you could do that. I'm just going to do another coat on the front of this stomach, because we want to lighten this down, just the front. The back is fine. But this baby will be beautiful when this baby's done. Definitely beautiful. You are supposed to pounce. You're never supposed to really wipe. But because my mottling layers are completely dry and they've been cured, you can wipe. But you do that at your own risk. I remember when I was in school, they told us not to do it. Okay, so I'm going to pause it right here, and then we're going to continue to the next phase. All right, so welcome back to our preemie series. I just finished baking this baby, and I have a yellow wash that is going to be a mottling layer on this baby. And we're just going to give this baby one layer of yellow mottling underneath. And you're going to see why at the end, when this baby is complete with all the layers that we're going to do on this baby. This will give this preemie beautiful, beautiful undertones. And this is just regular yellow, like almost like a banana yellow. And I use the Genesis regular yellow. You can use any yellow for this. Air dry and heat set. I don't recommend that new artists use heat set. It's really confusing, and not only that, it takes a long time, I mean years, to practice and get down the like color combinations, what works, what doesn't. Lots of trial and error when it comes to this. I could not work in the studio today. I had to work in my dining room today because my studio is being fixed right now. I'm fixing a desk, my table. Sometimes these little limbs are really hard, so you might have to stick something in it like that. You can go over it a couple of times because it's more like a mottling wash than anything. And you are just helping this baby have beautiful undertones when the baby's complete. You have a long ways to go, so. And we're gonna do one more layer on this baby right here on the chest area because we are doing a Caucasian preemie. And these are the colors for a Caucasian baby with beautiful, warm, goldeny undertones. And that's what you want in a preemie. That's what you want to capture. If you look really closely, you can see everything starting to surface, and around the belly button, you can see where I placed the undertones and how realistic it's starting to look. So this baby's gonna be beautiful. We're gonna pause that. I'm gonna take a little bit more on top of the head because this is a preemie, just on the top of the head. Not on the face or the cheeks. You already did your layer of yellow. We don't want too much yellow, just a little bit on the top. And we're gonna go bake this, and if you are doing air dry, you're gonna let it dry 24 hours before put on the next layer. So stay tuned for the next color. Okay, this is the preemie series, and here we have okay, so this is after the yellow mottling. This is the next step. And we are going to be shadowing this baby and doing a little bit of the creases. And I am going to give you guys the remedy of the color that I use. And you guys are going to be able to see exactly the colors I use. So this is actually not the red I'm looking for. I want to say lip blush nail. It's a premix color. It's like a really bright red. So that would be the first color that we're adding. And then we are adding Crimson 01 to this mix as well. And then this is the premix purple from Bountiful Baby. And these are all different paints from different places, so just so you guys know. And then we want to add some raw sienna. And this is going to mix in here really, really well. Let me see. I have another pre-mixed red right here that I'm gonna add to this mix, and I'm going to add a little bit more of the crimson. What it matters is really your mixture. And oh god, this is a really sloppy, I mean, it can get really, really sloppy in here, but I need more of this raw sienna. Oh yeah, here we go. This is what I'm looking for. And I'm gonna do a test on my baby and make sure this is the color I'm even looking for, because sometimes even somebody who's been painting for a couple of years straight, you may make mistakes and not even realize that you've made those mistakes. So I'll tell you right now if this is the color. Let's test out the color first. All we have to do is add some. It needs a bit more of this liquid, and I'm just using a cover right now because all of my colors right now, like all my containers, they're just not available right now. So this is the bottom of the foot. And then, yeah, let me just mix these colors in. This is very wet, but these are this is only a shadow color to shadow the baby. And you see how light it is with all that mixture. You would think it was going to be dark, but it's not. It's actually really light. But I mean, this color works. It's nice and light. take your little sponge and clean off your nail beds as always, so that they stay nice and clean. I'm gonna give it another layer because it came out so translucent. Because that's the goal, is to keep your colors translucent so that they don't go on too dark. But because this baby's a preemie, this baby really could get away with a couple of layers on the feet. A newborn baby could do the same as a preemie. I mean, as far as all that, and I'll tell you why. Newborns and preemies tend to be born with, their feet can be really red and pink, and depending on the newborn baby. Because I've seen lots of babies in my days, even NICU preemies, and they're born with pinky feet. Most of them are pinky feet. Anyhow, so that's the color I'm looking for. So I had to do it a couple times, and I just, you want to make sure that you blend. You can't see any lines. And that's a beautiful. We want to get on this side too, so just blend it really well. You can do it with a paintbrush. You can do it with a you can also do it with a sponge, however you prefer. And then we're gonna do right like this. Remember, this is we are shadowing the baby. This is a preemie. And you bring it all the way up, all the way underneath. This is just the shadowing underneath the baby's skin tone. I just do kind of like around the thigh, around the calf. Just make sure it's nice and even wherever you are layering your undercolors. Now I left that part blank, and I left this part blank, like the knee area, because this is a preemie, and you'll see why when the baby's complete. Once the tutorial is finished. And we're gonna do the whole baby. So we'll start right here. and just go around it and leave that part blank right there. You want this blank because that's where we're shadowing this baby, and then go around the fingertips with the drier stuff. Oh shoot. This is not a stable palette. I am making a huge mess here. This is going to give your baby a little bit of depth around the fingers and the fingertips. Just want to rub it in, and then after, you want to take that and you want to use it for the inside of the creases of the baby and the palm. And I'm just gonna fix this right here so that they're even across the fingers. I only want the baby's fingertips like that, so I will be I'm gonna rub these in really good. Mine is gonna be a little white and powdery because of this product that I use. This is thin and medium heat set. And that just helps the paint move around. Remember, because the color come out so light, I'm gonna do 2 layers. because it's lighter than I expected. And it's wetter than I wanted it to be. I've been working for a couple days and I've had a lot of orders come in. I have a couple of people who want to sign up for courses, and they're live virtual courses. Where we're doing a newborn and a preemie. Newborns and preemie. Make sure you clean off your nail beds. You want those nice and clean. Take the thicker stuff and line between, because you want everything to be nice and even, and then take your brush and just, you want to get between the toes. That's why I line them like that. And then we want to take our brush again, and we want to go around the leg like this. Like that. And this is just shadowing. And blend it out really well until it's nice and dry. And then I go right here. And then on the thighs, on each side of the thigh. Leaving those blank and the top of the thigh blank, so that this baby's nice and shadowed. Adds to the depth of the realism of the kit when you finish. You see how light this color got? Oh, that's the thing with Genesis heatset paint. It changes on you when you put it on wet. And this was very wet. You just gotta make sure you blend, blend, blend. Blending is very, very important when it comes to reborning. Because let me tell you, the real NICU preemies at the hospital, they are much more dark. They are much more dark, actually. In the feet, like their color of their feet. I don't know why I just touched this one, but I did. Lots of fuzzy wuzzies and lots of mess. I have been painting Reborns for the past week straight without stopping, and working another job in between that. And as soon as I get home from the hospital, I have to plop down and do my Reborns. And we're doing this preemie and working on a custom route. So am I busy here at the nursery? Yes, I am. I'm just gonna leave this like this for now. What's important is that it's shadowed, and this baby too. I want to shadow this baby. Just on the back of the neck and on top of the head right here. The shadowing will add depth to the baby. You will not be able to really tell that this baby has lots of shadowing. I mean, you will and you won't, depending on how you look at the baby and where the baby is in the light and how the light is shining. I can go inside a couple of these babies' creases just to shadow the creases because of the color. Now this is a perfect color for creasing because it has a skin tone in it. So you could also use this color for creasing and barely notice the color in the creasing. This is a trial and error type of business. Reborning is not easy. If you are not artistic, I don't recommend it. You have to be really artsy to be a reborn artist. I would say, I mean, chance it, go for it. But it's not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody. And we want a shadow around the nose too. This just basically will outline the lips for me for when it's time to really color them. In this, we want his milk bump out. I don't color in the baby's milk bumps on my babies. I do color in these. But nice and subtle, as you can see. I just do outside the earlobe because we're gonna do a different color when it comes time. And remind you, this is not even halfway done yet. We have a long way to go. Whew. and it does get tiring. I hope you can see that. And then I want to shadow his little eyelids. Oh. I should be using a smaller paintbrush, but let's see. No, I just want, actually, I want to get in here. There's a couple of more creases that I'd like to get in. Let's see. Underneath. And you have to pounce those right away. This is going to create more depth in your baby, and adding to that realism is like key. And we're shadowing the sides of this baby's nose too. Just like that. And go over all your work again, just to make sure it's all inside the creases properly. Ooh. But this is how he's looking so far. And he is looking quite realistic. He's getting there. He's got his beautiful shadowing going on, and a couple more steps. More than a couple, but so this is for his little hand. Sometimes this color can come out darker. I just did a ping and her limbs were a little darker than Charlie's. I mean, more darker than this preemie. And it's like, didn't I just make the same recipe and it looked darker on her than it did on him? And she's a Snow White. I mean, Snow White, baby. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this little, and I'm going to go around right here. Just making the ends of the fingers And you could take that pink and just spread it onto the fist a little bit, giving the baby some color. And that way it kind of adds more depth to when you paint over it with that next color. And that completes that. Now we have to go right here. Go around the elbows. Let's leave it right there. Now you want to take, if you have a belly plate, you want to add to that belly plate by just giving it, a whole one of these, because we have more layers to go, and this is just going to add depth to the baby. I'll grab that in a minute. So as you can see, you can stop right here if you're a beginner, and your baby will be beautiful. Bake that baby, or just let it dry and then add your sealant, and you could be finished right here. Like, this is all you need. But because I'm trying to accomplish prototype level, I'm continuing from here. So now you see how realistic we're looking here. I have to take a little bit of this color right here and add it to these nipples and the belly button. And go in a circle around the little nipples. And this is Creases by Bountiful Baby. And then you just want to pounce it very gently, just enough so that it comes through. And then I want to add a little bit of red in here with the purple. And then you want to go over this too, gently, with red too, on the nipple. And this is a very translucent red. This is a mixed red. I don't remember the reds, but it's like a dark red. And that just outlines the nipple area, the belly button. We wanna Some artists don't like lots of detail, but I'm an artist about detail. Okay, and there you have it. And I just want more in here in this belly button. I'm going to create like almost like it looks like an umbilical cord inside the belly button. So that's what I'm creating. As far as coloring, this is the colors that I used to start that. But yeah. Now we just need a little more purple again, because we do want to create a belly button, but we also want an umbilical cord. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. But so far, so good. Okay, so that's the end of that series. I'm going to put this baby to dry and take myself a break, and we will be back with our next preemie series. Peace out. We'll be back with our next videos, finishing up the preemie series. Thanks for watching. Okay, so we are continuing the preemie skin tone, the preemie tutorial. And if you remember earlier, in the color that you just seen, we're gonna do 2 layers of that shading in this color, and then we're gonna move on to the next step. After this second coat of shading, you have to bake in between if you are using heat set. And I have to go over this baby one more time where I want his shading to be. And I have to make sure I pounce it really good, because sometimes when I'm doing the shading, if you don't pounce it really good, you can mess it up. But I like to do in between the fingers and on top of these fingers. So I'm gonna do it again because this color is light. Oh, my puppies. Let's get a closer look here. So I'm going in between these fingers because I didn't rub it in good, and we want it nice and even. So we're gonna go over it again with this color, the one that I used before, the mixture that I showed you guys. That's the second coat. And you just want to make sure you rub it in, get in between those creases. And then we want to shade this baby and go down this way. Just like that. If you can see in the camera. I know the lighting is really good in here. You want to leave this part blank, and you want to take, oh, give me one of these. You want to take a new sponge and pounce it so that you can't see any lining, and just keep on pouncing your sponge around that little arm, leaving this front part blank and right here. And then you can take this and go right here, just right here. And this will all make sense later with the next color that we're gonna be using. And then we're gonna, let me take this right here, wait. I see something that I don't like. I'm just gonna give this an extra pounce all around and Make sure that paint is nice and spread it out even and there's no lines. Then I'm going to take his head and I want to go up like this, all the way up and around the neck and up into the middle of the head, almost right there. Okay. Now you want to take that and just pounce that out really good all around. You want to leave the face and the front of the forehead blank. On this step, you want to just leave it just as is, only with the first layer. Make sure you do your cheeks and your chin and your creases, because during the next part we're gonna fill in the rest. We're gonna go and do a few more steps. This is only phase 6 and we have 12 phases of reborning, so we have a lot left here. I hope you guys are enjoying this video. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're not subscribed. Turn on the notification bell because I will be uploading lots of, and you really want to take this in the front of the head and kind of you're pulling it back just like that, because you don't want to see any lining. You just want to see the shading. So when you're looking at the baby's head is nice and shaded. And go in the ears. Make sure you get those ears really good. And put this baby's head to dry. And then we're going to take the leg and we're going to do the foot, leaving one spot blank, which is that middle spot. Now it should be this color, because this is your second coat. And then you want to take it on the top as well. Just giving that baby some more depth. And then you're gonna shade around his leg like this. And then go down the sides like that, because we are shading. And then you wanna go just like that. If you can see, that's how we are going to do the arm and the leg. And I'm going to have to cut the video until the next part, which is the next part of the Reborn tutorial. And I'm going to have to bake this layer. Take a clean sponge and make sure you really press in hard so you can't see no lining, that the lines fade into the kit, so it almost looks really, really natural all around the leg. And then we're gonna take the baby and we are going to put this baby to dry. Now I'm gonna take the belly plate and show you where I'm going to shade this baby. So up, around, just like this, just like that, and also on the back. And this is how we're gonna shade this baby. And you want to take a clean one and pull your sponge back as you're going like this. You're pushing it back sideways and backwards, because that's going to fade the lines and really help you paint and get into making this baby even. And now we want to shade the back of this baby as well. And I'm going to shade down his spine. And these are just shadowing, shading. Everybody has a different name and technique, and this is what works for me. My babies come out really beautiful. Okay. I laid it in some paint and it dried on my baby here. So I need some wet stuff. And if it don't come off, I'll just leave it there. But this is how you shade. And we're gonna get into texture and all of that good stuff. This is a whole full tutorial on Reborn painting a preemie. My name is Elena. I do preemies, newborns, and we basically specialize in preemies and newborns, but I do toddlers as well. Silicone and vinyl dolls. We definitely want the collar shaded as well, because this is where his little head is going to go. And this goes right over the baby, so this goes over the cloth body. Then I want to take this shading because this is a belly plate, okay? And I'm going to go down this way one more time because it is the shading. And I'm going to give it a good tap and spread it as much as I can all the way around the neck, the shading area, the back, anywhere the pink can go. And then when we finish this tutorial, we will prop the baby up and take pictures of this little cutie. And that's the belly plate, as you can see how beautiful that's coming along. And we still have a couple more steps coming, so stay tuned for that up next. Okay, so do you guys remember what I just did with that color? It was almost like this color right here that was in here. So what I did was I added Flesh 08 to that dark color, okay? And what that's gonna do, it's going to take the baby, okay? And we're gonna use it to fill in the rest of the baby. And we're going to do it all over the kit this time. So you're not leaving anything out. This is all over the baby. And be careful with your nail beds. And I cannot stress that enough, because once you get paint on those nail beds, it's hard to get it off. What I do is when I'm painting, I let my nail beds build up naturally, and then I add moons and I add the toenails to them and the fingernails, and that's how I create my babies. Now this color it's a pinky color. And this pinky color really kind of makes up a preemie. But after this color, we're going to add one more color, and then we're gonna hop into the details and then get going on that. So there's your first limb, and we're gonna set it on the drying rack and let that dry. Let's go over the feet and make sure those nail beds are nice and clean. And it should be looking almost like this skin tone. And if you look at a micro preemie, micro preemies tend to be a little bit more on the reddish side. It depends on the look you're going for. And because this baby is going to be a personal baby of mine in the nursery, I've decided that I want my preemie to be just a little bit more red tone, almost like that preemie right there in the picture. That popped up on the screen. So that baby right there is a NICU baby, and this is the size of a NICU baby. So do I want to replicate that 100%? No, but I do want to give this baby a little warmth as far as his skin tone, because he is preemie, and I do have an inspiration. So everybody knows that I am a NICU baby nurse, and I work in Boston in the NICU unit, and taking care of babies and, you know, saving their lives basically is what I've been doing for 13 years of my life. So I have lots of experience when it comes to that. When I was working there last year, they kind of had me bouncing around the hospital doing like all this different work with the babies, and they would put me in the children's unit as well, kids that, you know, are suffering from cancer. And, you know, it's really sad being a nurse and holding it together when it comes to babies. It's really hard for me to keep my cool, basically, you know. So you have to almost be numb, because I cry a lot. I'm a crybaby, and when the babies are sick and stuff like that, it really gets to you, you know. And yeah, so watching these babies sometimes can really get to me. All right, so we have that, and I don't know what's on this kit, but I just got it off. Now remember, this goes all over the baby, all over this kit. And leave the fingernail beds nice and clean. We're gonna do one more wash layer, and this is basically a wash layer that we're doing right now. And then we're gonna move on to our next layer, which will be another skin tone for this baby. And when doing the head, we can go all over the baby this time. So we can go in the middle, inside the ears, I mean everywhere. This is gonna make up for when we left the baby's face blank. And make sure you line up behind the ears and you paint behind the ears. Get in those creases really well. Now, I've only been painting for 2 years, but let me tell you something. I went to school for almost 18 months and took courses. Course after course, course after course, and I spent a lot of money doing that. But the good thing is, the lady who taught us she's been reborning for 18 years, and she's now retired. She did her last class with me and a few other people that took her course. The other girls that took the course with me, they ended up dropping out because it's a lot of work to reborn, and it also takes a lot of money. But this is my strongest advice to new artists out here. If you are just starting out and you really want to become a reborn artist, my biggest advice to you is start using air dry products. You're going to save yourself a ton of money. Why? Because air dry products work just as effective as heat set. I promise you, if not better. Why? Because you don't have to bake. You don't have to use a new wave oven. You don't have to invest in heat set dinners and all that. All you need is Liquitex and acrylic paint thinner, and use that. And let me tell you something. You're on your way to success. And if you want to take a course with me, you can hit me up behind the scenes, and I can show you and walk you through reborning step by step on live. I have WhatsApp. I also have Facebook or iPhone to iPhone. We could do iMessage on FaceTime. I could do, it's 3 courses, 3 classes actually. And it's 1 course, 3 classes. So let me say that, repeat that. 3 courses, 3 classes, 1 course. If you want to do a preemie course, it's the same as any course, and I would walk you through, give you every single tip, and show you how to use each and every product. Because learning these products on your own is extremely, extremely difficult. My biggest advice to people out here is purchase yourself a nice cheap kit and practice that cheap kit. Bountiful Baby has beautiful sales all the time. I mean often. And they are more affordable. Get a sale. If you catch their sales, like, they are really, really good to, you know, to be catching their sale. Because once you get their sale, you can get some really good kits for some cheap money. If not, you can hit me up, and I may have a kit that I can sell you for cheap money too, for practicing. Because I do have some kits that I purchased that I don't want anymore. And it's because 2 people ordered this baby and they never paid me for the baby, and I put up the money for the kit. So if you want a good deal on a kit, I have Valentina available, and she's great for a practice. I'm just using some purple around the creases in the head, although I'm just starting the purple and then I move on to red because Charlie's a preemie. So the purple is almost like the shading of the creases, and then the red is what really brings it out. But it's not just any red. It's a pre-mix red, and we're going to make that in 1 second. I'm just checking him out to see if I see anything that needs fixing. I'm just marking where his eyebrows would be. A baby this small barely has eyebrows. If not, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 strands of hair. Charlie is a really adorable baby. This baby is so cute. I have been waiting to reborn this baby for ever since I opened my doors. I have another kit blank, but if somebody wanted to custom order a baby that looks like this, you could do so. And I am very fair in price when it comes to my babies. This baby does come with the COA. I bought this doll kit off a legit doll site, Irresistibles, and I highly recommend Irresistibles. They are one of my favorite doll sellers. I buy tons and tons of kits from them. 90% of my babies are from Irresistibles, and I can tell you right now, they are amazing. I love them. I love the way they do business. I had a misunderstanding with them, but that was my fault. Like, I was just being a brat. And honestly, they're awesome. They really are. I just take odorless mineral spirits, and when I'm doing a color that is, you know, like that, and I feel the need, sometimes I'll put a clear coat of mineral spirits over the baby just to make sure there's no grainy paint stuck anywhere, and that everything is nice and smooth and even though he has a few more layers to go. I'm still, and of course detail, and once that detail comes in, oh, this baby is going to be everything. It just dunked a little bit in the paint, but no problem. No sweat. I'll just make sure none of it. And then I kind of just want to put some purple over here. Very translucent purple. And just kind of dab it very lightly. Because later on I'll go over that with some red. And add some detail to him. I think babies with markings are just, oh. It adds to their realism, you know. I mean, you gotta admit that. And we are doing from start to finish. So don't forget to subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. This baby has a little ways more to go. All right. I just had to clean them up for a second. But I'm doing the top like this because this is a preemie. And as we know, preemies do have lots of coloring on the top of their heads. Not so much on their face, but at the top of their head. So I shade the heads of the newborns and preemies depending on the sculpt, depending on the look I'm going for. As far as an Asian baby, I just did Ping Ping, and Ping Ping is a Ping Lao baby, and she was a custom baby. You guys can take a look at her right there on the screen. Tell me she's not so freaking adorable. I just did her for one of my really close friends, who is also a doll collector, and she loves her babies just like me. Like, we freaking love dolls here. We don't discriminate. We don't get into he said, she said, because I am also an investigator for the unknown, and I did a series because I did an investigation on the Reborn community, desperate to find out some information about Reborn dolls and where they were made, and why were they being duplicated, and why people were out here calling certain sculpts fake and copied and this and that. And I did a whole investigation and found out that the first ones complaining are the first ones that are buying, are the first ones that are going to China in the first place to get their babies made. So if you're a sculptor and you're getting your kits made in China and you're complaining that your kits are getting stolen, that's something you're gonna have to deal with as a grown-up, because let's be real out here, people. Dolls are dolls, and China is the one that produces them, all of them. German vinyl and regular vinyl, regular color vinyl, natural, neutral vinyl, is all produced in China. Germany can also produce kits as well, and Poland. Most babies come from China, but there have been people that have reported that they purchase kits in Poland and in Germany, depending on the doll kit. But 90% of these sculptors out here all get their babies made in China. So it's like, don't believe everything you hear from these sculptors because they complain. But there you have it. Now we are going to bake this baby and the limbs, and then we are going to come back with the next step. All right, so the next part of our preemie tutorial, and I have to stop each and every tutorial, every layer, because I have to go back and I have to bake in between, so it's really a pain in the butt. But we're getting ready to do detail on this beautiful baby, so I'm not gonna start with the face. I'm gonna start with the hands and the feet when it comes to the detail, just so I don't screw it up. But it is exactly the color skin tone that I was looking for. And if you wanted, you could even do another skin tone over this. You could use a light, very translucent red wash, because a preemie, at the end of the day, they are, they are a little bit darker than this, and they could be redder if you wanted them to. So right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into detail, and this is the last part of the tutorial before I assemble this baby, put this baby together, and dress him. So let's see. I'm trying to get to know my colors a little bit, because I changed up the way I paint. I used to use different colors, and it took me a while to really get down what I wanted. Give me 1 second. Actually, I gotta grab my glasses before I finish. Bring it down. Alright, so welcome back to the preemie series. I know that I am going to be putting every single one of my videos will be put into one video, so it's not like you guys don't know what's what, because one video goes in back of the other, in the order that I made it, so that it would actually work. I need my glasses. Be nice, girls. Give me that. No. I'm trying to think of the color. So I'm gonna use a little of this. Actually, no. I want the Crimson 01. And that's this one right here. It's a pre-mixed color. And I'm just gonna take a dab of it and put it in here with a little bit of my thinner. So I'm gonna start on his little hands right here and darken those up. We want to do in between the creases with this color as well. And then let me just make sure. You want to take a flathead brush and just dab that so that the fingers have shadow, because I'm gonna take these and add another red. So this red with this pink, so it's not so dark. And I'm just gonna put it on top right here. But I also want to add this darker red on top to give it some more depth, because he's a preemie. And the preemies are dark, like a dark reddish brown. And we have ourselves a micro preemie here that we're painting. This baby is only 14 inches. You can use any red tone for this. If you are a air dry painter, then you could use a little bit of your bright red with like a skin tone, just a dab of the skin tone, and mix it together so that it tones the color down and it's not real bright. And then it blends well together with your baby. I just want to take a different color red as well for this inside, because we have ourselves a preemie. clean those nail beds. And then it should look something like that. Take a little bit of this one too for the top of the hand, because preemies, like I said, they are really red because these babies are undercooked, and this is a preemie. I mean, it's up to you how you want to reborn your baby, but this is how I do my babies. And he is for my own personal collection, he or she. Well, I'm gonna make it both because I do have 2 of these babies in stock. I have a blank kit as well. I've decided that I'm just gonna leave the other one blank for like another year and then reborn that baby in another year and see the difference in my work. Because I'm pretty sure as time gradually flies by me that I'll get better and better. So it kind of should look like that at this point. And then when it dries, it does dry lighter than that. But that's a preemie hand, if you will. And we'll get this on my drying rack. I'll just put it right here for now. My drying rack's in the other room. And then we're just gonna do the same right here. Get out of the trash. Are you being a trash picker? Huh? You being a trash picker? Get out of the trash, boy. And I'm just doing the other hand. And then the top of this baby's fingers. Baby's fingertips. And then right here. Because this is an open hand. And open hands, I like their fingertips to be like that. I think it's really adorable. And it adds more realism to that baby. But you gotta be careful. And it should look like that. And then I'm just gonna give it some lining. And I think that's good. We'll let that dry as well. We want to take the bottom of this foot. And now if you look at the difference in the color of the baby's foot, and this is actually Parole Red 02 that I used to give this baby more of a preemie foot look instead of more like an older baby. So an older baby's foot would be like this color. And now we have, and this baby has a total of 3 coats on its feet. 2 of that color we made, and then basically so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do the toes, the top of the toes. To give this baby a more preemie feel. It took me 24 months, and I'm not even kidding you, to just learn my colors, learn what goes with what does what, and then from there I learned that it took me another 24 months just to learn reborning. It was not easy, it was very challenging, but I made it, and I'm very proud of myself because it took a lot of hard work to get here, and I have worked really, really hard to get where I'm at, and I'm just, you know, thankful to God first because I'm here, still breathing, and all this work that I have put into reborning. Let's make sure the little toes are nice and red because we have a preemie on our hands, and when this color dries, it's just gorgeous. And we have a little foot, so we're gonna let that dry as well. I just seen something, let me go over this. If you have any mistakes, correct them. If you can see in the camera, I just did the pinky, but when it dries light. And if it's too loud for you, and this color is too dark or too bright, after it dries, you can go over this with the flesh skin tone and heat set, or in air dry, and it will tone it down. So that's another secret in this video. I hope you guys are enjoying this tutorial. Okay, I think we're gonna let that one dry and move on to our next foot. And I'm just using a little bit of paint on there and going around the foot like that. Now that's one bloody foot, but as soon as we tap it out, just have a baby here. Now, I just kind of want to do just the toes. And then you can take a brush, or you can take anything, but then it dirties the nail beds. But naturally, they will build up the color they're supposed to be, and they look more natural that way. That's just how I did my ping ping. I just did a ping ping, and her nail beds come out awesome. They look so natural. She's such a beautiful baby. She come out gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. I will show you guys a photo of her in the screen. There will be another photo of Ping Ping for those who didn't get to see her earlier. And she is Ping Ping number 2. Jahida, thank you for purchasing Ping Ping. And then my second Ping Ping is going out to another good friend. And thank you to that good friend for purchasing Ping Ping. And as always, getting your babies made by Elena at Newborn Nursery Reborn. Now that may look a little dark in the camera, but that's what I want. Okay, that's exactly what I'm looking for, because that tells me that we have a preemie right here. And that's the correct coloring for a preemie foot for the timing that this preemie was born. And now we are going to go into a little bit more detail with this. So and the nipples, they have 3 different colors that I added. We want to keep shading the belly button because we want it to look like an umbilical cord. So we'll give that a nice and let me just take some purple and add some purple in there too. And I'm gonna add purple around the nipple area. To give it more depth. And as you can see, when you look at this baby's back now, look at how natural that looks. Okay, that looks like a newborn baby. That undertone look right there. Do you see what the yellow and the blues and the purples that have done for that? So we want to take some purple and we just want to dab it very lightly going up the spine like this. And then you're going to take your sponge and dab it so it's nice and translucent. We don't want to make this dark. We want to make it nice and light just to bring out the rest of those colors. And then we want to add some more red to this belly button and some brown. I have brown here as well. We're gonna add brown in there. And then I want to add black and red. And I'm gonna just use this little cap for my palette for now. And we don't want a lot of black, just a little bit, just like this. And then we're gonna take some red and mix it in there with the black so it looks like this. And then you want to dab it on here. Just underneath. And then we're gonna take some glaze. So give me 1 second. We're gonna take a little bit of the heating glaze, and all this is Genesis, but I bought it from Bountiful Baby. It is just a little glaze, but I want more red to this, so let me add red. And it should be nice and thick like that. You can use any type of glaze medium for this. It doesn't have to be just, if you have thin and medium, you can use that. If you want to use something else like matte, you can use that. If you want to use satin, you can use that. It doesn't matter what you use. But if you look now, this baby's gonna look like, because we're also creating a umbilical cord. That's just the stump of it. Like when the baby first gets it cut and it's real short to the belly, that's what we're creating here. And you have to kind of pile it on like that. Let me see. This is my first time creating this. I just know how to use the mediums. And I've been wanting to create a belly umbilical cord, but what I might do I want it to come out a certain way, and this is why I just redid it, because I want it to come out a certain way. Okay, so it has the red. Now I want to add the black. And then add some purple with that, with the gel medium. And then when it dries, you have an umbilical cord. As if you look on the side, I just made an umbilical cord. You see? So that's the baby's umbilical cord, because we have a preemie here. So That's how you make it. And I used Crimson 01. I used Mars Black. And I used Pearl Red 02. All those three colors mixed together to create this beautiful umbilical cord on Charlie. Now I have to get this baby in the oven so that his umbilical cord stays in place. And I want to take a little bit of this and kind of give his nipples more depth so that they're more noticeable. Because once I wipe this color away, you'll see it much more clear. Because of the gel that I added to it. And this is the Pearl Red. You know, those look like nipples. Okay, just a little bit more right here. And then we want to mark where the nipple is. You want to shade it in darker than the rest of the paint and just dab it really, really lightly. Because we just shaded the nipple area. We did that by dotting it in circles and dabbing it and building our colors and our layers. And that's what created the depth of the nipples to this baby. And then we're going to move on to the face. I'm going to pop this in the oven right now and put you guys on pause.